What's up, Capoeira Nation? Welcome back to the Capoeira Experience podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in and being part of the podcast. You know, it's been a rough few weeks because Tempestad and I just moved to a new place and then trying to set up. That's why I kind of like pause a little bit with the podcast. It was a little bit tricky for me to kind of like be very consistent with the podcast for at least for the last couple months because in planning, working, and just life it gets a little bit on the way. But here we are. I'm not forgetting about this because this one is one of my favorite projects because I get to talk to so many capoeiristas and learn from so many people and bring that information to everybody. And it's free content there for people to learn and to absorb from other capoeiristas and learn from the experience from other capoeiristas. That's why I love calling this the Capoeira Experience podcast. And just if you have the chance, the only thing I'm asking in return is just to share the podcast. That's going to be super helpful. I don't run any ads here. I don't get any financial gains with these podcasts. So at least yet, but or at least for now. And then I want to keep it like that for now. But the only thing in return I just ask is just to share the podcast with people so we can get this information for more to more people if you like the content that you have here. So today I have a special guest that he was already in the podcast before, and I admire him because he's very 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 consistent on what he does, and that's my admiration to people goes to consistency and effort. When they have both, I admire people like that. So it's very nice to see again your face, man. How are you doing, Calado?
Yo, what's up, Kashishi? I'm happy to be here, man. Thanks again for inviting me back.
Of course.
Yeah,
Nice.
I feel like there's always so many things that are going on.
I
I
know,
think that
right?
things are kind of accelerating,
Yeah.
and my thoughts are always like, I don't want the capoeira community to be left behind on all these opportunities that are coming
100%.
up, and yeah, like you said, like for the work that we do, it's just like you said, consistency.
Yeah.
We have to be
Yeah.
consistent on things.
Yeah. Well, yesterday I actually yesterday was one of my biggest class because so personally everybody came to class. Well, like 80% of the people came to class. So I was like, man, this is pretty cool. Like we were probably, I think, 13 people in class. I don't remember.
Wow.
But here in Indiana and in Indianapolis, there's no more capoeira out there. And then here in the Indianapolis area, at least it's just me and everybody with their uniform. Everybody was nice and clean, and we did the hada, and then it was super nice. And comes back to the consistency because my wife and I been class, or at least I've been teaching my wife for the last 8 years, and she was there for the first 2 3 years where it was just two of us. And then I
Yeah.
was like, somebody's gonna show up. I know somebody's gonna show up. And then yesterday, look, I because I recorded the Hada, and it's also on Instagram. And I was
Mm,
like, man, this is cool. It's cool to see a nice base for my Hadas or for my class.
that's
It comes
awesome,
back to the
man.
consistency.
Yeah, dude. It takes a long time. It
Yeah.
really does. And people, I think that's one of the hard things for people who are like thinking about a future in capoeira. Is like, oh, how long is it going to take for me to be able to do something with this, or even,
Yes.
what is the future for me? And I feel like some of the work that I'm doing is trying to expand some of the possible ways that people can make a living doing capoeira, because I
That
don't
was
right
so
now.
good, man. Yeah.
Because right now I work a full-time job, and
Yeah.
I work like as an engineer, and most of the time I'm sitting down. I'm doing a lot of the stuff that my students would be doing, on a
Yeah.
daily basis. They're working 9 to 5, and they come home from work, and then they have to like feed themselves and like
Yeah.
rush over to the gym. All that stuff I'm doing as well, And but I think that slowly it's just about making a transition to like that full-time
Yeah,
capoeira thing. But how you get there and what possibilities are out there, that has to expand. I think
yeah,
like your podcast is one avenue that people could possibly go, but then there's so many other things as well that are like popping up,
yeah.
at least that I'm seeing, and that get me interested.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, for sure. Because is that's the other thing too. Like I don't see anything wrong with making a living with capoeira. Because that I
mhm.
feel that that's still a taboo in the capoeira community. That's which is a
Yeah,
really good
yeah,
point. And
yeah,
I've talked to some people about that, and then I love their points because to the people that I've talked, because they say like, hey, like I don't think it's for the people, right? They told me I don't think there's anything wrong if we make any living from capoeira, but we cannot forget like the cultural part. We cannot forget the traditions and leave that behind, and then just focus on making the living, but forget about like everything else. And then I was
yeah,
like, that's an interesting point, which is totally right, and then
yeah.
and again, I don't think there's a wrong or right, but I don't think there's nothing wrong either with making a living with capoeira. I mean, do you? I said this before, like Mr. Pastinha. He died poor. He died by himself, with just with him,
Yeah,
his wife, living in a very tiny room, on a mattress on the floor, and then poor, and then just by himself. And like how amazing would it be for him to have at least a decent living, and because what he did, all he was doing was capoeira, at least from the knowledge I have.
yeah. I think about that a lot because I'm not sure if we talked about it in the last episode, but I think a lot about the difference between someone like Manduca da Praia and someone like Besouro. Because Manduca da Praia, it's in the song, Mandingueiro era Manduca da
Manducada
Praia.
praia,
And they
yeah,
talk about how he owns a fish business.
yeah,
Like there's not too much about his history about his life, but one of the interesting things is that he owned a fish business, and he lived a pretty good life. He was
yeah,
that like malandro or whatever. And then you have someone like Besouro, who was killed because, as the story goes, someone told Besouro to give a note to somebody.
yeah,
Besouro can't read, so he just gives the note to the guy, and the guy is his assassin. He
yeah,
said, "You're supposed to kill me," or something like that.
yeah, because
And
he couldn't read it, yeah,
exactly, and and it made me think so much. I'm like, you have these two figures, one of which has spent time developing his ability to provide for himself, to make money for himself, and etc.
yeah,
And the other one, uh, for whatever reason,
for sure,
was not able to. And we kind of have like these two, and you see this a lot also in capoeira. I take it like as a lesson.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
we
yeah,
can go this route where we kind of try to educate ourselves as much as possible.
yeah,
We try to expand as much as we can. Or yeah, the alternative is like you could end up like Mr. Bastian. You don't
yeah.
want that to happen.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
and then that's why today's days is so. I was also talking to somebody where it was like, hey, like, how much do you usually charge for events? And I was
mm,
like, if I charge what I deserve, the capoeira community is not ready for that. And I was like, oh wow, oh,
yeah,
I
yeah,
like that, because it's just like, I mean, that's totally right, because if you charge somebody $1,000, which today, honestly, $1,000 doesn't give you a lot, and then but to get those $1,000 from capoeira is is hard, because
yeah.
there's something around the money part that it just get hard, and I don't think it should be like that.
Wait, so I think there's two interesting questions from this. One is, do you feel like it's changing people's from the people that you've talked to, people's ideas about making money in capoeira? Do you feel like it's less taboo now? Because I feel like it is.
Yeah, yeah, it's getting there. It's definitely getting there, where we're starting to it start coming to the light, where it's good to make money with capoeira, where
Hmm.
like we start talking more about business structure, the your capoeira class as a business, because there is many people out there, they you ask them like, hey, what do you want to do in the future with capoeira? And one of the ideas are like, I want to open my capoeira studio. And
Mhm.
then, but like, okay, cool, that's amazing. That's an amazing idea. But behind that is a lot of work. You're not gonna go just to a landlord on a building and be like, hey, I want to open a studio. Okay, so you gotta have a business. You gotta have insurance. You have to have,
LLC,
yeah, exactly. You have
taxes.
to have a bunch of stuff behind that, and then you are like, no, that's not what capoeira is. And
Well,
then
you
it's
gotta,
just like,
yeah.
well, like, sorry, but that's the reality of life. So it's
Yeah, yeah.
so, and then now that's becoming normal, which is so cool, and I love that because we need that. If you want to have a studio, if you want to have grow and eventually have a capoeira studio for you, I think that's important for us to
Yeah,
just to be normal.
like, actually, what's interesting? This idea of having an academia, that's like so many people I've heard want that. A lot of people talk about it. But it's funny to me that this idea goes back to Mestre Bimba
Yeah,
because he's really like the first one to have an academy.
yeah, 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 yeah,
He's the first guy, and he did it, and it's like a model for everybody.
yeah.
And the interesting thing is,
Formal
yes,
and how you call this, formal academy and structure academy. Because
hmm,
there were academies, but not just like on the public.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. Actually, that's something I didn't know. Actually, I didn't know there were also other, like, you mean like in people's houses or things like that, or
yeah. Because I mean, Pastinha was still around, and there were many other capoeiristas, mestres that they were around,
Mhm.
and it's just like Mestre Bimbo was the only one that became famous because of that. But they were
Mm,
they. I mean, before he made or made to the public that he had an academy, there were people already with academies. Of course, probably on the
interesting.
house, probably on a room, but that
Right.
if we consider that an academy, I think that's
So,
something.
that's the thing, right? Is his academy was the first one to be open to the public. It was like approved, kind of, for you to have
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And
Yeah,
legal.
and yeah, yeah, and he was very successful with it too. Because
Oh
I
yeah.
remember there's the story of him getting around only by taxi.
Yeah.
Like he would only take taxis to go. He wouldn't take the bus anywhere for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard that before too.
And he also had like four wives or something like that. So he was supporting like 10 kids and all this
Oh
stuff.
yeah, you gotta keep that. You gotta maintain
Retaining
that.
a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But so the interesting thing is like that's kind of our conception of it's still our conception of like, oh, when I grow up in Capoeira, I want to have my academia. And I think everyone kind of has this dream. But I think yeah, I think there's so many things expanding now. Like
Oh yeah,
there's
totally.
so many followers of Ito Portal, for example, that I follow, and a lot
Yes.
of them do like online coaching
Yeah.
where
Yeah. Yeah.
they're basically there's so many people doing it now for bodybuilding, for
Yeah.
movement, for calisthenics and all this stuff,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
all doing like online coaching.
Which is, I mean, and I would say like, why not? Because we have this amazing tool. Like, dude, you are all the way in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And then I'm all the way in Indiana. Why not to use this tool for free? Because it's a free tool. Well, you still gotta pay for internet, but it's a very wide connection that we can connect. I talked to people in China before, and then
Mm,
if without this, we wouldn't be able to do it. And then why
yeah.
not take advantage of that for us to connect with other people, help other people, and make some business out of that.
But you know what the thing that the people's hesitancy was originally with this was I think because back in the day, if you went to someone's academy, it was like, ah, no, this is the thinking back like 2005, seven, something around when I
Yeah,
started.
yeah, yeah,
You go to your Mestre's academy and you don't go to anyone else's because if
yeah,
you go anywhere else, you'll get confused. And
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's what people used to say. Ah, no, it's gonna mess up your jinga. Everything's gonna
yeah.
come all over the place. And it was like, yeah, it's funny now. It's funny
Yeah,
now
yeah.
because okay, we kind of learned that was kind of bullshit. Sorry, guys. That was
Yeah,
probably we probably messed up with that one.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, but that was the thinking. So
yeah,
and now I think people kind of have a similar sort of reaction. It's sort of like, but if I'm training with this person, but what about my teacher kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the thing we have to kind of ask with these courses is as teachers is why are we having these courses? Like, why do we have these courses in the first place? Like, yeah, we're trying to expand our ability to make money within the sphere of capoeira, but not just make money, but it's more like the goal is really to help people as much as possible.
For sure.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
there's capoeiristas who do music classes online,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and I love their content. Like, I love what they put. Like, I've subscribed to them before,
Yeah.
and I absolutely love what they do. Like, it's really helpful. Like,
For sure.
I'm not someone who's really big. Like, it's not that I don't like music. I just haven't developed it in the same way that I have other stuff. So for me to be able to practice with someone who has way more experience than me, and they even they did me a favor. They're condensing it all, you know, in a way that it's easy for me to study.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's really helpful, actually. And I've learned a lot just from doing that a little bit. But like, how you structure those classes is really important. It's like,
Oh yeah.
are you because you can do so many different things, actually. Imagine you can be 100% online. You can do all your classes online, etc. Or you can do courses for specific movements.
Yeah.
You can do how people do workout plans
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
for like bodybuilders or whatever.
Yeah.
You can create something like that.
Oh
And
yeah.
it could be something where you work with somebody for a month or 3 months or 6 months or a year, trying to develop like a certain skill set, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways you can structure it, and I think that that's something that I'm exploring now. That's more along the lines of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, and I love that because it's again we got to take advantage of the tool, and then we'll come back to the point of you teaching this. But now, from your perspective, this because that's a question that came up with my students. So let's say, because even though we're having such an open capoeira community now, there is no as the 90s. I'd be like, you don't come back to, you don't go to their heart because we enemies, and you're just like, but your problem is you guys. Why do I have to pay the price? So you say is flipped now. So now everybody supports each other. There's no, at least from the sections or in states and cities I've been, where there's no that group rivalry anymore, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And my students were having the questions like, okay, well, I learned this movement, and then this specific movement, how do I apply that movement in the Hada? And I was like, well, it's tricky because there's some movements characteristic for each group. So if you see, for example, Cordon Lloro has a signature on their jinga, Cordon Lloro has a signature on some movements, and Cordon Lloro has signatures, right? Has their own style.
Sure.
Capoeira Brazil has their own style. Awada has their own style. And then there's many groups that have specific style and then specific movement, the way of playing, the way of moving, the way of doing stuff, which is good, right? So once you start going to places for student, like me as a student, just as an example, how would you keep that balance in between, should we use those moments and then combine that, or should we keep having those signatures, or should groups just forget about their own signature? Because then, for example, and then you see a Cordon Lloro person playing like Capoeira Brazil, or Capoeira Brazil playing like Cordon Lloro, and then and then before, if you take the uniform, if you take the names and all stuff, how do you identify who's Capoeira Brazil, who's Cordon Lloro? Which is no bad. Which I personally like those signatures, But you personally, what do you think about that? That signature, should we keep it? Should we now that we training with a bunch of people? How will you keep that alive?
So it's interesting. There's a lot of there's a lot of questions in here actually.
Right?
It's how much value do we put on playing like our group or our teacher? How much are we trying to apply different movements that we see somewhere else into our game?
Yeah.
And also as the teachers, someone could come up to me and say like, I saw this movement and I might not know how to really apply it.
Yeah.
I went to Joy's, Contramestre Joy's event
Yeah.
not too long ago. And there was some things that they were doing. And I was like, man, that's awesome. And I was like, I don't practice that enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I was like, and and I was thinking about it a lot. I was like, man, I really got to like, this is like it was just something that they were, forget, it's like I forget exactly what the movement was, but I just like was thinking to myself, I was like, I really like what this is. And I noticed that Joy's students were also very good at it. Like she was very good at like, I think it was just scrapping, like being very like tight and just like doing more of the fighting.
Okay.
And her students were able to do it too. And I was like, that's impressive. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I was like, like we're not doing that enough in my class. I'm like, okay, I have to think about this more. I have to practice it too. Like this is homework for me. But getting to the point that you're talking about, it's like, okay, well, how much value do we put on this? Like, and should we be practicing these other things? In my opinion, I think yes. Like the more information we can get, the better. There's a saying. It's like, and I forget who says it, but it's like, gosh, there's a few different ways to say this. It's like, take what take what's good.
Yeah.
Throw out what's bad, but keep them both because you never know when you might need them.
I see your point. I see your point. Yeah,
and a lot of capoeiristas will say this. It's better to have it and not use it, or to know it and not use it, than to not have it and not be able to use it when you need it.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. But then, and then if you're not gonna use it, but you gotta practice it enough for you not to forget.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too. You gotta practice it enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this is kind of the thing with teachers too. I mean, we have limitations as well in terms of like how much time we're spending with our students. Like it's not really possible for me to teach a student everything. I just
100%.
don't have enough time.
100%.
I just don't have enough time with them. Even if they came to every one of my classes, these classes are limited to 1 hour. And even the classes that we go over, like Thursdays, we go over almost every single time.
Same.
At least an hour, and we do music for like an hour.
Yeah.
And even with that, it's not enough. Even going over and over and over, it's still not enough. So I think that's kind of where this space is. Like there is a need for people to, and people want it too. People want to learn. Like there's people who want to learn more how you can like really defend against like a hard kick and playing a fast roda. A lot of people are scared about that.
Yeah.
Well, it's like for someone like, whoever it is, they might want to teach more about how to react in those kinds of situations. I might not be the person to do it, but someone else might. And if they can put out something online where they're kind of like, instructing people on how to do that, I think that that's great. And I personally would refer my students to something like that. Like, if my students wanted to teach, I already know who I would send them to in terms of taking a course. If they wanted to learn music, I have a few options for who I would send them to. It's like, great, you're more interested in this, great. On your free time, this is who you can go to.
Yeah.
And if it was something like, Calado, I get really scared about getting into the roda when it's like really, really fast. I'm like, great, imagine this doesn't exist right now, but it's like, great, I'll send you to this person. Like you can take his course or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that'll help. So I think that that's all, there's a need. And I think that people are going to find a way to do it one way or the other.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it was with us, at least. Like, like this, before I was Cordão de Ouro, we would look up YouTube videos. And I would ask some people whenever I could, I'm like, how do you do this? And they'd show you and you kind of trying to figure it out. So it's just that we didn't have that much information back then.
Yeah.
But we still tried to do it. We still tried to, even when I wasn't Cordão de Ouro, I was trying to play a little bit more like Cordão de Ouro just because I like the style.
Yeah.
So I think these things are just going to happen naturally. And maybe this is what happens, like culturally, you can see that the world is kind of coming together into one thing.
Yeah.
Everyone's on TikTok. The whole world's on TikTok at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
And culturally, you have people the same memes in English and Spanish. Latin America, we have the same memes
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
as they have in the United States.
Yeah.
So culturally, we're coming together a bit. And then I think capoeira as well, we're gonna start seeing a bit more of a meshing. It might come together a bit.
Yeah.
And some people are against it
Yeah.
because they're like, oh, the style, Senzala, or whatever style you can think about,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Angola style or Regional style, it's gonna kind of disappear a little bit. And that's
Yeah.
probably true.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't put a big premium on capoeira names or capoeira styles or groups or
Okay.
anything like that.
Okay.
Personally.
Yeah. Yeah. Because me personally, I would like to keep styles because that way is like the how can I describe it? It's like like when you are home, right? When you grew up in a house, and then you grew up with values of way of thinking, and then the way of being your personality, right? And then
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that when you get new friends or you go outside and then go to other cities, you move out and then now you're gonna forget who you are, or you're gonna be like, my dad used to teach me this kind of stuff. I'm gonna forget because I'm not with him anymore. And then
Mm,
those something very similar to that. So for example, if I personally like, and then again, if I tell my students, if you wanna do it, go ahead, but I like to do it this way, and then it's just more to keep like the signature of the
yeah.
way how to do certain things, not everything, and then I'm open minded to for other moments and everything else, but I personally like that more, especially when you train with somebody, you always turn to like absorb more their style.
Yeah, of course. Of course. And I play like my teacher just from being, there with him training.
Yeah, 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 exactly. For
I
many
think
years.
I think that's just naturally going to happen.
Yeah, for
Yeah, it's
sure.
interesting. I think it depends a lot, like your framework, like how you, uh, if your framework is like, yeah, we're going to be, I am teaching capoeira of this style
Yeah,
or signature, like it's going to just be like that. And it makes sense because this is the stuff that you're probably more familiar with. And, you obviously know a lot more about than if I said like, oh, like if someone asked me like, oh, do a class like with the style of like Fika Capoeira or Angola Quintal, I'll be like,
I don't know. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I will not be able to do that at all.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That's not something. If you want to do that, great, go do it. But I just won't be able to teach it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the truth. But yeah, personally, I guess I just don't put a big enough premium. I don't really put a big premium on schools or
For
groups or stuff
sure.
like that. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of that is actually because um like now, at least in the Northeast, it really feels like it doesn't matter. Like if you have it, great, like that's cool. But like
Yeah.
we really need more of the unity. And I think at some point everyone's kind of just gonna come together. I think in the future what will happen is this. I think yes, the styles will converge a little bit,
Yeah.
but like you're still gonna have, Angola that's gonna pop out in this direction, doing this a little bit more. CDO is gonna do this a little bit more.
Yeah.
Capoeira Brazil is gonna do this a little bit more. But I think the circle of our movement vocabulary,
Yeah.
of our capoeira understanding is just growing. It's just expanding. So
Nice.
it's
Okay.
like
I like that. I like that.
you get what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
not that like we're switching one circle for another. It's more just like we're
Merging
taking
them.
some stuff and adding it into our circle and
Yeah.
making it a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
but each style is going to poke out in different areas, in different dimensions, because they just naturally, train more. Maybe it's floreos, maybe it's more takedowns, or maybe it's more music or history or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think that's where everything is moving towards.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially having the online again the online teaching, and you have access to so many teachers, and you you can connect with so many people and learn from so many people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
coming back to now to the point of online coaching, because I also saw that you have the online coaching. What do you
Yeah.
have? What do you have there? What kind of stuff do you teach there?
Yeah, so it's like it's funny, it's almost done. And I've tried different ways of doing this actually. A while ago, a few years ago, I tried reaching out to a few friends and I was like, hey, I want to build like a training program for
Yeah,
you. Like and I would make the training program and I kind of like asked them how they thought about it and they were like, yeah, it's okay. But it was kind of like it wasn't really the it wasn't really what I was looking for. So then what I did is a movement that I really liked was Audipoluna. So I made a
nice.
guide on Audipoluna, un trançado,
Okay.
and that one it was like someone will buy it here and there. There was some interest. But now what I'm doing with like Instagram, and this is kind of all trying to tie it all in together, is what I want to be able to create. And again, this is kind of thinking about the audience. Like, are you creating something for beginners, for advanced people? Like Aujipoluna is kind of an advanced movement. Like not that
Yeah,
many people are really going to be looking at that. Whereas if
yeah,
I did a guide on macacos, a lot more, it has more popular appeal, let's say. Like
yeah,
people who are in like breakdancing might want to learn how to do this, or
yeah.
people who are in like dance might want to learn how to do this. Luna is like very like is very specific.
If
There's a very
you think
small number of people who
breakdance
would be
people
interested.
will do that?
I'm sorry.
Do you think breakdance people were wanting to do Audi Colonna?
I think so. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
so. But maybe it's
They
not
have
in
some
their
variations, right?
sphere. I think so. But
Yeah, I
I
think
just
so.
they have a word for it. I think it's called a gumby. It's kind of similar
Huh.
movement. But I think it's like again it's kind of like thinking about who's your audience. So right now
True. Yeah.
I have so many beginners because I just started teaching at this spot about a year ago.
Yeah.
Most of the people are new. They didn't start a year ago with me. They started 4 months ago or 6 months. And so um, it like right now what I'm doing with my Instagram is trying to create like a guide for all the foundational movements, things
Okay.
like ginga, skivas. And if you look at the stuff that I've been doing lately, there's some
Yeah.
floreos and cool stuff in there just to catch people's attention.
Yeah.
But a lot of it's like queixada, how to do queixada, how to do
Which is super
armada,
cool. Yeah.
yeah, and all that stuff. And a lot of that will be repurposed into some sort of fundamentals guide.
Yeah.
And that is the kind of thing that would be beneficial for my students, the ones who are just getting started, and
Okay.
potentially other people who are interested in capoeira, but maybe they don't live in a place where there's a school, or
Yeah.
maybe they don't. Maybe they just want more clarification
Yeah.
on
Yeah. Yeah.
some
For sure.
things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's kind of where it's starting, or like that's kind of like the direction. I would like for it to. I'm taking a lot of inspiration from a lot of fitness and movement Instagrammers that I see,
Yeah.
because I set some goals for myself. Like I was like, okay, I want to see what happens if I reach 10,000 followers. I want to see what happens if I create a fundamentals guide. I
Yeah.
want to see what happens if I start putting out content on that's like really like specific, like
Specific. Yeah.
really specific on like how everything works on basic movements, and those kinds of things were really just based off of the need that my students had. So I was
Yeah.
thinking about my students, like what do they need to succeed?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it would be great if they had this, because they're asking like, oh, what is this movement? What is this? What is this thing? What is that thing? So I have written up and I have shared with them some pages of like some documents basically that have
Yeah.
like a lot of like videos and stuff in there, and they link to the Instagram posts that I've been making. And this is kind of like the idea is to create this kind of encyclopedia
Yeah.
for them.
Nice.
Um, but I had this conversation with a friend, and it was kind of like, what is this path for doing capoeira or providing capoeira content and information on the internet? Because you can
Yeah.
do a lot of different things. Like I said, you can do classes online, or you can do like packages of stuff. And this is kind of like the experimentation for me, is trying to figure out what's the best path.
Yeah.
I think at some point, what will become more common is that people have their classes, and then they also will look like, let's say like some capoeirista that they really like, they're gonna say like, oh, this person has like a coaching thing, and I want them to show me how to, let's say, open up my hips more so I get more mobility there.
Yeah.
Or I want them to show me how to do this movement because it's just, I want to learn this movement. And I think that's kind of what it's kind of going towards.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what it seems like in the fitness world, at least. Like you
Yeah.
have your fitness gurus or whatever. You have or you might have like some coaches that you might be working with, but then you
Yeah.
have like some Instagrammer that like, I like what they're doing. They kind of inspire you to do some stuff, and you might end up working with them on some for a few months at a time or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. And that comes back to something that very important that I've seen also in the fitness industry. There's a lot of people with knowledge that they actually know what they're talking about, but there's also people that, because
Yes, the
they just go to
grifters.
the gym 2 hours and then they just read a little bit of how to do a push-up online, and then now they become a coach
The
on Instagram.
grifters. Yes, yes.
And then
It's a great
that,
point.
yeah, and then that is kind of like making people even hurt, because I've seen many people on Instagram and Instagram fitness influencers, quote unquote, that they teach how to do squats, terrible form that if somebody that has no experience is gonna hurt themselves. And I'm
Mm,
like, Jesus Christ, these people have X and X amount of followers and they are doing this, and this person is not even doing it, like, is curved back, the knees are curving inside, and then it's just like, man, you're hurting people. So,
yeah.
and then now how to translate that to capoeira is just like which is my question, like how would you describe that, like the correct form, like how do you know somebody can do correct form, and then are you coming back with them, and then
Yeah. It's a hard question because correct form depends a lot on the person that you're working with.
yeah, 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 good point,
Um,
good point.
yeah, people's coordination levels, people's mobility, uh, de- that changes a lot. Even their structure, their bone structure will
Yeah,
change how you do something as simple as a squat.
yeah,
So then it's kind of like you as the teacher, you kind of have to figure that part out. You have to kind of see like, okay, where is this person? What are they able and not able to do? Like one thing that I see that's very common, um, learning Auichikoluna, for example. I use
yeah.
this as an example. I've seen a lot of people learning Auichikoluna from Skiva Basha or Skiva Basica.
Okay, nice.
So they'll put their hand down, they're in a skiva, they put the hand down on the floor, and then they
Yeah,
do Awichkuluna to that side. And the thinking, I think, is that I'm already close to the floor, so I'm not gonna like come crashing down.
yeah,
So I'm safe. This is all the thinking. And I'm already kind of in the position anyways. So it's
yeah.
like, it should be an easy transition. And I've seen a lot of people get hurt, like mess up their shoulders doing this.
Yeah, yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
people. And you see a lot of people on Instagram do it this way.
yeah.
Does that make it wrong? It's like, well, the
What
people on
works for
Instagram
you,
can do
right,
it.
too?
The
Yeah,
people on Instagram can do it.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
and also you don't know if they hurt their shoulder afterwards.
yeah,
They may be recorded and it looked great, but like they're like, ow, that really hurt actually
yeah,
afterwards. It's like I don't personally teach the Auchpuluna that way because I know that it's a big limiting factor is going to be your shoulder mobility.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
prefer
yeah,
to teach it in a way where that's not really going to be an issue. But um, but that doesn't mean that someone like if someone wants to learn it that way, the truth is, yeah, you got to work on your shoulder mobility, man. There's no way
yeah,
ifs, ands, or buts about it.
yeah,
Do
yeah,
you
for
have
sure.
it? The answer is pretty much yes or no.
Yeah,
If you want to do something like uh, paso a frente, for example,
yeah,
which is basically like a sissy squat, where you have your knees really far forward. Can you do that? Yeah,
yeah,
and there's a proper technique for it.
yeah.
But the question is, does your body, the structure, can it hold
Key
that weight?
support. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like a bridge. Like the answer is yes or no. Like we have the structure, the tendons, the muscles, the ligaments. Can the structure hold what you're trying to do, the stress. If the answer is no, well, you got to make a better bridge.
Yeah.
If the answer is yes, well then great, you can kind of do whatever you want then.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like that's kind of what it, but going to the question about like Instagram, it's like, or any social media, there's always going to be the grifters, man. There's always going to be the people. And
100%.
I think like even in real life, we have that. It's like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
we have that problem no matter what, but I think definitely social media is going to amplify that. and,
100%.
and
Yes.
especially for the new people, and that's kind of the part that's annoying. Like I was interested in going to a Muay Thai class, and I asked my friend about this. Is like, I asked him, he's been doing it for a couple of years, and I was like, hey, like your school, like is it legit, like is it good?
Yeah.
Because like I couldn't tell you if I went into the class, it's my first
Yeah.
class, I wouldn't know.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. 100%. Yeah.
I just, because I have no conception of like what are the schools, like
Yeah.
if you were to ask me about capoeira schools, easy.
Yeah.
I tell
Yeah.
you,
Yeah. For sure.
I can tell you easy, like, oh, this guy, you want to do this, great, go here. You want to do that, boom, go over there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But for like something that I'm new at, I just don't know what to expect. So those new
100%.
people are
Yeah.
going to
That's a
have a
good
hard
point.
time, I think, if there's a lot of capoeira crap on the internet, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good
But
point.
I do think that on the whole, though, it's a positive force rather
Yeah.
than a negative force.
Yeah. 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 For sure. Because it's you again. You can reach a lot of people by holding them through the whole process, and then how to do some forms, and how to prep for those for those moments. And
Yeah,
now that we touched the point of the beginnings, how, like, for example, new person that has a average life, that has no mobility at all, that barely can do 5 push-ups, just as an example, right?
yeah, yeah.
Comes to you and be like, hey, I want to learn these movements. How can
Oh,
you have, or I want to learn from you. I want to learn. I
right,
want to do your
right.
course. And I just started capoeira. I've been doing capoeira for 2 weeks, and
Mm.
I want to learn. I saw you on Instagram, and you have this course. How can I start moving? How can I start moving better? How can I improve
Yeah.
my movement? How
Well, yeah.
so?
I think,
Where can they start?
yeah, I think this is kind of where we transition from being capoeira teachers to capoeira coaches in some
Yeah,
ways, like
yeah,
fitness coaches in a way.
yeah.
Because someone like that, for example, if they say to me like, I want to learn to do corta capi, but it's hurting my knees. Oh, am I doing it
Oh,
wrong? Like, imagine, it's very common. Like,
yeah,
and I would have to say like, hey, look, it's hurting your knees because the structure is just not supporting it, man. Like,
yeah.
you gotta build up your knee strength.
Yes, yeah, 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 yeah.
Which some people also don't believe that that's a thing, but it really is. Like,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah, I mean, you gotta
strengthen a
get your body
structure.
used to
Yeah,
specific stuff.
yeah, and yeah, this is a whole other thing about education, but I think that's also improving as well. Like the education on like joints, joint health. I think that's
Yeah,
kind of improving now in general. Like the general public, I think, is a little bit more educated on this in general. But what I would have to say to them is like, look, you should be working on this, this, and this. Once you can get to this, but like if you can do negativa comfortably, and even once you can, like, let's say, stand up from negativa, for
yeah.
example, then I can say, okay, this person, they have the prerequisites to do the movement.
Okay, 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 okay.
So you have to
Nice.
imagine that there's a list of prerequisites for each movement.
Yeah,
Like if I want to do meia lua de frente, I have to be able to lift up my leg, right? That's a
yeah.
prerequisite. For corta capim, it's going to be, and corta capim is I forget what it's called in English, like breakdancing, but coffee grinder. Yeah,
Which is the one that,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
spinning the leg
But
under.
yeah, but of course, it's the same thing. There's sets of prerequisites that they have to do.
Yeah,
And something that we do in my classes a lot is strengthening the knees a lot. Like we focus a lot on that. We try to do warm-ups for the wrists that focus on strengthening the wrists.
nice.
Like I've always had problems with my wrists,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and a lot of the reason that I don't anymore is because I do a lot of these warm-ups and these like exercises so I can do that.
yeah,
So I don't want my students to suffer that same thing that I went
yeah,
through.
for sure.
So we kind of try to focus on that. And I think that's kind of a big part of it as the capoeira coach. is you
Yeah.
kind of have to make sure that your students have that they're building on a structure that is sound, that
Yeah,
is
that
strong, that is,
works for that. Yeah.
yes, exactly. And I think those are two different things, because when you teach a capoeira class, you can't always be like, okay, now we're going to do, we're going to work on our mobility in this. You can include it, but it like that person will have to do stuff on their own.
Yeah, for sure.
They will have to do something. If they want beautiful kicks, nice and high, you're not going to get that from only coming to the class. You will improve.
Just for 2 hours
It
per
will.
week.
Yeah, you will improve for
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
but not at the rate that you want. It's going to take you way, 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 way longer. If you
100%.
dedicate time to it specifically, you'll go like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
exponentially higher.
Yeah.
Whereas if you
100%.
come to the class and you do it, like, yes, you will improve, but it'll be a much more gradual shift. And
Yeah.
I'm talking about someone who's very like deficient in like some area of their body,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
who
For sure.
has a lot of problems. Like I think that's kind of what it is. Like, you really need to be the coach and get started. Now, from a student's perspective,
Yeah.
you have to talk to your teacher and be like, hey, what are some things? Like, most teachers are going to be able to guide you at least on a foundational level,
Yeah.
to where you can start really making some progress.
Yeah.
But that communication, I think, has to happen.
And that's very important that you touched that point, because we cannot read minds. We don't read minds. And then if something is hurting, and then something is uncomfortable for you, or you don't understand what is happening, ask the question and be like, hey, like, I'm struggling with this, what do you think it is? And then, like, that person, like, comes to you and be like, hey, I'm trying to do this movement, but my knee hurts. But and then, because there's the case too where people are like, hey, like, this is not for me. It's just like,
Yes,
but
yeah.
what is it because your body doesn't hold it? It's just because it's too hard for you, or what it is? What is the reason behind it? And then so many months later, you'd be like, well, like, I'm quitting because my knee was hurting. And then, why you didn't tell me that the first month? I can read your mind. And then I couldn't help you to build that strength for the last 3 months. And then 4 months later, you would be able to, for your knee, hopefully not to hurt, because it's hard for us to do an assessment on something internally. So it's how can we build that? And then that communication is super, super, super important.
Like, for things like that, for example, I do think about a lot now of building the classes, and like, when we do any sort of movement, I do, like, put levels for the movement.
Oh,
like, for example,
yes.
if we do, like, negativa, simple negativa hole,
Yeah.
almost everyone will do this. I tell them, this is what I say. I say, the direction your knee is pointing to is the difficulty. If your knee's pointing up, it's easier. If it's pointing forwards, it's going to be a lot harder.
Yeah.
So if you feel like it hurts, point the knee up. And this is when they have their full foot on the floor.
Yeah. When the hips
like
drops.
This negativa. Yeah. So that's kind of how I personally get around it. And when I see somebody with their flat foot, I'm like, okay, I got to try to remember that's the guy. That's the guy with the knee problems.
Nice. Okay.
Sometimes they'll say it like, my wrist, I hurt my wrist.
Yeah.
But they'll only say it if they had, like, something big happened.
Yeah,
and it
that's
was
true.
recent.
Yeah, like they broke the wrist before or something like that. They had a big injury before. Yeah.
From what I've seen, people will only say it if it was something recent and it really bothers them, like, a lot.
Yeah.
If it's like something chronic that they've been dealing with for years, they won't say it because probably they got used to living with that and they don't want it to get in the way or something like that.
Yeah.
So in that sense, like, I don't know. It's hard for me. I don't want to say it like that, but, like, we kind of have to read minds to, like, you have to be the detective.
Yeah. Because we can also ask questions too and be like, hey, like, I've seen you, like, there's not a lot of progress on this. What is going on? This something hurts, something. And communication comes both ways too, which is a great point.
Yeah, that's another thing too. I think though, like the detective work is like part of the job, unfortunately.
For sure. Yeah.
Like
No, no,
I
that's
didn't sign up
100%.
for that, but I think that's just how it is.
That's true. That's true. That's a very good point because you can also that's a good very good point because we can also ask question and be like, hey, like, is it something hurting? Like I see
Hmm.
you like coming down to the ground trying to go to negativa very slow. What is happening? Like something hurts? You okay? You can barely breathe right now. You're turning freaking purple.
You're right, right,
Why you
right,
hold
right.
your breath? Like what is happening? And then
Hmm.
yeah, totally. And then how will you balance that between where I guess you already answered that part where that balancing between doing the conditioning for
Mm,
that moment and then the actual moment. For example, like
yeah,
Auji Coluna is like how can a person know that they should keep doing a conditioning or they should always do conditioning regardless
yeah,
of they already got
yeah.
the moment.
Yeah, it's such a good point because you can become a conditioning machine where you're just like obsessed over, I just need mobility. And you just,
Yeah,
and
getting
that's all
prep
you do.
prep 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 prep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all you
yeah,
do is prep. Yeah, you don't want to just do prep. Most, like any coach will tell you, 80% of what you 80% of your training should be sports specific, and then the
yeah,
last 20% should be, supplementary things.
yeah,
So like if you are a rock climber, you're gonna spend, and 2 hours in the gym rock climbing, and then maybe like half an hour doing like stretches or some other, maybe going to the gym and lifting weights to help you
yeah,
with that. And I think it's
That's
kind
a
of
good point.
similar with capoeira. Like most of your training should be capoeira specific,
Yeah,
like trying to be as specific as possible. So if you are learning even something complicated like Ojibwe, you'll just do exercises that relate to Ojibwe, that basically like more regressed versions of the movement.
yeah,
Then because Ojibwe is very complicated. It's a lot of different components all at once. So maybe you focus on one component,
yeah,
and at the same time, so that's the capoeira training. And then you think like, okay, and the supplementary stuff will be, my shoulder isn't going far enough past here, so I'm going
yeah,
to work on that to supplement. And
yeah.
you do that for
And
20
then keep
minutes,
doing
30
Audio
minutes.
Colonna.
Yeah, exactly. So you do your capoeira training, you do your Luna training, you do that for an hour, whatever, half an hour, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And then the last like 10 minutes, you do like stretching and whatever else you think you need to focus on. I think
Oh, I like that.
time wise, that's what it is. It's like 80-20. And
Yeah.
sometimes that'll shift, right? Sometimes you just, I don't know, sometimes I don't feel like doing the mobility stuff as much. I just want to move. I just, need to get something out. Sometimes I feel like I really want this mobility stuff like right now. And I
Yeah.
focus more on that. So,
Yeah.
it changes a bit. I think motivation is or I think motivation is not motivation, but like,
Incentive or like
yeah,
initiative.
like you should do the program that allows you to do it all the time.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
If you
Yeah,
do a
yeah.
program, you do it once, and you're like, oh my god, that was insane. I'm never going to do that again. It's,
Yeah. Yeah, they get
train
burned
for
out
three
really quick.
hours maybe, but you only did it once, and then that was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That
whatever
definitely not gonna
helps
work.
you be consistent, I guess,
Yeah.
is the other thing too.
Yeah, for sure. And start slow too, so that way you can build up that momentum and
Hmm.
start with 30 minutes training and then eventually once you feel
Yes.
comfortable with 30 minutes you'll be like, oh, this 30 minutes was fine, and then just 45 minutes, and then
Yeah.
because sometimes people go I'm just gonna train for 2 hours, and just but
Yeah.
by the first time you did it and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
next day they're super sore and then tired and then no, I don't want to do it anymore, and then well that's
No,
why.
I told my students like a trick. I was like, just say you're going to train for 5 minutes
Yeah.
and just
Oh,
let
that's true,
whatever
that's true.
happens
Yeah,
happens. Whatever happens happens. If you end up
that's
for
true, that's
training
true.
for an hour, well, okay.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I like
Cool.
that. Yeah. I remember somebody say something about that with music. I don't remember who it was. I was like, I'm just gonna put my beating ball together and I'm just gonna do beating ball for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Something like that.
One
Somebody said
hour
that.
later, they're still going. Like,
Yeah, yeah. He's like, hey, can you shut up, man? You've been doing
yeah,
that
yeah,
for
yeah.
all day.
That's like a common like productivity nerd trick. You
Yeah.
just say, hey, 2 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever, and
Yeah.
then you almost always go over
Oh
because
yeah.
the hardest part is starting.
Yes,
If you
that's
make
true.
it like
That's true. That's true.
if you make it really low commitment for yourself, you make it a lot easier
Yeah, yeah.
to do it. Like I'm just gonna record. Like sometimes I do this to myself. I'm saying like I'm just gonna go there. I'm gonna record for Instagram, but only for like only like one sequence, only one sequence. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, but that was trash. Let me
Yeah.
do it again. And then, then
At
I
the
keep
end of
going.
training.
Yeah, then I just end up like,
That's funny.
yeah, yeah. So I do it to myself too. I think it's useful to do those kinds
Yeah,
of
I
things.
like that. I like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh.
definitely. Because you just get the momentum from that.
Yeah, I'm a big productivity nerd, man. Like if
Yeah.
you ask me about like productivity stuff, like that's like a like I record a lot of stuff. I write down
Nice,
a lot of things. I have like
nice.
a I'll share with you one thing. There's a guy that I really like. I was listening to recently. This is totally off topic, but I just so love it so much, and it's part of why I think this way. It's this guy named Tiago Forte, and
Thiago sounds familiar.
he's a Brazilian guy, Tiago Forte, but he's a productivity nerd. He's like, but he's one of the best in the field right now.
Oh yes,
And
send me one of those videos. I would love
I'll
to
send you
watch
what
them.
he has.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
really interesting. I like him a lot. You'd probably like it too. Now that you're reading a bunch and
yeah.
you're like, because that's kind of what got me into it. He was talking about he has a course on a second brain,
Oh,
and
cool.
so what is a second brain for him? A second brain is basically like a repository. It's like the stuff that you like. You can't remember everything, right? So what
Yeah.
you do is you dump it all into your second brain.
Huh.
And so when you want to like take stuff out, you go in there and you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
oh, okay, okay. So I did that recently because I read a bunch of books on business and productivity and stuff.
Cool. Okay.
And so I got a list of like 10 of those books that I had read,
Yeah.
and they all have notes and everything. And I
Huh.
compiled it all together
Yeah.
and I gave it to one of my cousin's kids as a birthday present. I was like,
Oh,
hey, here's
cool.
10 books that I read and
Yeah.
all the notes with highlights on like what's the most important stuff for those 10 books. And it's also like I have it like start off. So like if it's a really high rating, you should
Yeah.
probably read it. If
Yeah.
it's a lower rating, like you could skip it. Just stick with the notes
That's
that I
so
gave you.
cool, man. That's a great
Yeah.
gift.
It was cool. Yeah, he
Yeah,
liked
yeah,
it. I hope
yeah.
hopefully he went through it. I have no idea.
I wish
I'll
I had a
pass
cousin like that.
it. Yeah, right. Yeah. I
Yeah,
wish
yeah,
I had a cousin like
yeah,
who just
yeah,
gave me like wow, all this stuff. That'd have been cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That would be nice.
But anyways, like that's like one of the things. Like he writes down a lot of stuff because I write notes on all the books that I read, and then it all
Yeah,
gets deposited into this second brain.
yeah.
And
I like that.
now that I'm learning like programming, I have a notes section for that, and it's just
Huh.
all that stuff. And yeah, dude, it goes in depth. Like I use Notion for all my note keeping and stuff, and it's like
Oh,
the
cool.
application. And I also have a lot of my students' resources on there too,
Oh, cool.
because it's helpful for me to organize.
Which one? Which
It's called
application?
Notion. I'll send you a link for it.
Yeah,
It's free,
yeah.
and it's basically just like have you ever used like Slack?
Yes, we actually use that for work.
Oh yeah, cool. So Slack, the same way that Slack has channels,
Yeah.
you'll have like pages on the side.
Oh,
But those
okay.
pages, they're kind of more like you can make the pages into like Excel document kind of
Huh.
things with like cells and rows,
Okay.
or you can make it into like a Word document. You can throw in videos in there, links for
Yeah.
videos or photos and stuff like that.
Oh man, that's so cool.
And
Okay.
so what I did, for example, for my students is I have like a foundations page, and it's like these are our foundational movements. You should, and I put like
Huh.
there's like 12 of them. It's like esquiva baixa, lateral, all the
Yeah.
esquivas, basic movements for, and then basic kicks for.
Huh.
And the pages that it's like these are the things you should know within like 3-4 months.
Okay.
These are the kicks, and this is how you do it. And there's like video links for them all.
Oh man, that's so smart. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's something that I can, because I think about this too, and I'm like, I need to create something so that like it frames it a little bit better for the
Yeah.
students. So I
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
set it up, and then I can send it to them as
Easy to
this page.
digest. Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to digest. It's also for me too to think about like, oh, when a new person comes, like what should they be focusing on? And it's like,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the 4 months, I have that, and now personally, I'm trying to think of like, okay, well, what about a year?
Yeah.
In 1 year, what should they have ideas of? Because now it's applying those movements and stuff, but in a slightly more strategic way.
For sure.
So it's like they have the technical ability to do these things,
Yeah.
but now it's like, how do I use them in a strategic way
Yeah.
in the game? And then it's also like, what other movements are they going to be including in there?
Yeah.
It's
Huh.
going to be like
Smart.
the straight kicks now, chapa, martelo, gancho.
Yeah.
Like for us, it's like a little bit more intermediate, I guess. It's like
Yeah.
the beginner kicks are like meia lua de French, all the round stuff.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like chapa, martelo, gancho. So now it's like, okay, a year. Yeah, you should probably know that and
Yeah.
how to defend, basic defense,
Yeah.
and then how to fall
Yeah.
or something like
How to
that.
fall.
And that's kind
That's
of the stuff
important
that
too.
I'm trying to figure out now
Yeah.
is
That's
getting them
cool, man.
into that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. It's cool to have those tools for students, because that way you, whoever is new, now have those tools, and then
Yeah, I'll
you're going
send
to
you the
last
link.
for.
I'll send you the link for it because
Yeah, yeah,
maybe
for
it'll
sure.
inspire you and maybe
100%. I'm
it'll.
I'm actually trying to build a beginner's course and trying to develop my
Nice.
own curriculum too.
Oh, that's awesome. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be super super
Yeah,
helpful.
do
Yeah,
the curriculum thing, man. That's
yeah,
I think
y-
that's going to become more important as
yeah,
the years go
yeah.
by.
Especially like eventually, I want to have somebody to teach a class, right? So like, the next in line is going to be my wife, and then we were talking about like, oh, like we gotta start getting you into like, do you want to teach or not? Okay, yes,
Hmm.
yes, I want to teach. Okay, cool. Now you let's start to doing what you need to teach,
Yeah.
so that way we always on the same page. And then let's say she goes down the road 5 years, she already teaching, now it's another person, and then be like, she started here, let's start like this. So that way you already have a path for whoever is going to teach. And then I'm just trying to think on the next 5 years.
Dude, I mean, that's super smart because I think that's kind of what it is. Like you have to, yeah, you have to have something like that because
Yeah,
otherwise, like, what happens when you go on vacation? Like you said,
yeah, 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 yeah.
what
Oh, if,
happens
if I travel to a
when,
couple event, what they're going to teach?
man, when someone invites you to go teach in China
Yeah.
and you're in China for 3 weeks, they know who's
Yeah.
going to teach the classes. And the thing is, too, the students want to know that what they're going to learn from the new teacher is going to be the same bar of quality
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
as that they're going
exactly.
to
Yeah,
get from
that's a
you.
good, very, very good point. Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
that always happens to me. Like, oh, like if my like it happens in any school, right?
Yeah,
If the teacher's not there and a student will teach,
that's
everyone's
true.
gonna be like, it's not the
Yeah.
same. I want my
Ye-
teacher to,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
then they
And
don't
it's
come.
totally different energy. Yep.
Yeah, they don't want to be there. Like, no, it's okay.
Yeah. Even if
Which
they don't
is
say
that.
it.
But if they know that, like, maybe the teaching style is a little different, but I know that the quality is going to be same quality,
Yes. Yes.
and
Yeah.
I think that's a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's really
Well,
smart, man. Yeah,
yeah.
it's the same. Like I'm trying to create like a curriculum. The nice thing is right now is I have so many beginners.
Yeah.
Like everyone's just new, so I really like can focus in on like all of them have like things that they struggle with,
Yeah.
and for everyone it's a little different. And so now I can kind of see like, okay, so this is harder for them. This is easier for them as a group. Like, what is the dynamic here? People are hesitant to go into the Hada. They're scared, or
Yeah.
they have problems like keeping their legs straight when they kick. Think simple things like this.
Yeah.
I can kind of write it down or think about it and be like, okay, so what are the challenges for somebody after 6 months? And this is something I can kind of figure out.
Yeah.
And it's like, so how do I get them to overcome this now? And that eventually becomes the course for the guys who are there for a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
100%. And
maybe
then
that's
now,
what it is.
yeah, yeah. Now, to wrap it up, what would be an advice for the Capoeira community, or for those beginners in starting on this?
That's a great. Oh man, advice for the company. Yeah, I mean, I I think I think in I think in general, something that people need to consider is just doing something for a long time.
Yeah.
Um, like, and by long time I mean like, at least like a year.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Yeah.
Like at least a year, and it doesn't really matter what it is. Like it can be like learning to juggle,
Yeah.
or it can be jumping rope. But I think you have to dedicate like a good year of your time and really focus in on something specific. Because if you just well, this is what happens a lot. People kind of jump around to a lot of things,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's nice that we have all this variety of stuff, but it's kind of like multitasking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we know that multitasking is terrible for our efficiency. It makes us bad at learning. It makes us bad at doing. It's just terrible in general, right?
Yeah.
And when we go from like 1 month of doing rock climbing, 1 month of doing, or even one class of doing karate, and then
Yeah.
we're not going to get any real benefit out of it, or like the
100%.
benefit's so limited. Whereas like if you were to like dedicate like a good portion of your time into
Yeah.
something, like you're going to see tremendous benefits
100%.
benefits that will carry over to the next thing that you do for a year.
The 100%. That's 100%. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think about that a lot. And I hope that people, even though this is getting harder to ask for, I hope
Yeah.
that people have enough patience to just dedicate themselves to something. Because like that, slowly mastering something is something that will translate to anything else that you do.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that. Yeah. Well, man, thank you so much.
I hope that was good enough advice.
Oh, super good. Super good, because it's true. Especially today's days, a lot of people get bored very quick. And then it's be like, this is the same, this is not for me. It's like, dude, you just been doing it for 1 week.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
how do you know it's not for you? So
Yeah.
it's just like, I mean, of course, like, I would say, like, football is not for me. I never done it. Like, I wouldn't play football, like American football. And then, because I just seen it and it's, no, it's not just for me. No, not for me.
Yeah.
Which I totally get that point. But for example, for something like when you want to get into an activity, it's like try, just try for a year and see how you like it, and then
Yeah.
see what happens.
And
the
and
next one.
actually like what you're saying, like let's say you want to do a martial art, and you know that you want to, like, let's say you're interested, right? You're
Yeah.
interested. This is something you're interested, like
Yeah.
Muay Thai for me.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in doing something like that.
Yeah.
But so it's not like if I go to the first class and I'm like, this is terrible. Like if I did like ballet, for example, it's like I'm not really interested in ballet. If I did a ballet class, I
Exactly.
do one and that's really it. But
Yeah.
something else, maybe like Muay Thai again for this
Yeah.
example. I take the class and I'm like, wow, that was really hard. I didn't understand anything. It's frustrating. I got to take another class. I got to make sure that, because probably the reason I'm frustrated is because I suck.
Yeah. And we always are
And
going
that's
to suck at
okay.
something. Yeah.
It's okay to suck. Like,
We don't have to be perfect the first day. Nobody's going to be perfect the first time.
Yeah. So you just gotta
Keep doing it.
push through that initial resistance.
Yeah.
And,
that mental block in there is just mess people up.
Yeah, this is the same with capoeira. People are gonna be. It's gonna be a hard time in the beginning.
Oh yes.
And then when they start getting good at stuff, and then they start feeling like, oh man, like I'm so good at this now. Like, I can do this thing that, like, I can do a cartwheel, and like you see people in the street, like no one can do a cartwheel, right?
Yeah. Because it's like the other day I told my students, because I had a few new guys, and I was like, like, unfortunately, we get conditioned as we grew up to, as soon as we suck at something, we have to quit. Then, as a babies, 2 years old, 1 year old, we never quit how to walk, and we never quit how to do something. But then growing up, I mean, a kid trying to do 2 steps, he falls. You're never gonna see a kid be like, I suck at this, I suck at walk. I'm gonna
start crawling again.
Yeah, I'm gonna crawl for my next 100 years.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen. And then we keep trying and keep trying and keep trying until we do 1 step and fall again. We do 2 steps and we fall again. And then 6 months later, that kid is running all over the place.
Right.
And then unfortunately, we get conditioned throughout our life and be like, you suck at that, you should quit. And then
Yeah.
and then people are just like that. And then I was saying that in class, and everybody else was like, "Oh, yeah, he's because he's." I tried to quit some stuff before, and then
Sure.
I think just a natural condition in human beings, right? When we are like, I
Mhm.
suck at this, I want to quit.
Dude, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's humbling. Your ego gets hurt. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel good. It just
Yeah.
feels horrible.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
for you to
The
take
common
that and
thing,
just
you
eat
feel
it,
stupid.
yeah, you feel dumb and you're just like, man,
Yeah.
yeah. And you have to, and you're gonna have to eat shit for a little while.
Yeah. That's true.
That's
Yeah. Yeah.
the
That's
that's
the
the truth.
beginner's mindset, right? And then
Yeah, that beginner
is
is so powerful.
yeah, 100%. And then it slaps you in the face because you got to start over from somewhere.
Yeah, but it's funny because that's the best part because you're learning the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
when you're the dumbest person in the room, you're the one who's learning the most.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, because we just gotta keep trying, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, you suck at something. Like it's almost like if you can rewire that in your brain, that's actually really powerful. To be like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I'm so bad at this, but like this is a good thing because now I'm working on something that I didn't even know that I was bad at.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
handstands or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Capoeira.
Yeah. Well, man, thank you so much for being here, and then that's a great conversation. I love talking to you because we can keep going and keep going, and yeah, it's super cool to have a conversation with you.
It was awesome, man. Thanks so
Yeah.
much for the invite, and I'm glad we got to talk. And I'll show you all about Notion. I'll make you a
Oh yeah.
productivity nerd.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I would love that. I would love that. I need that because I actually at work, I was actually talking to one of my coworkers and be like, dude, at the end of the day, I'm exhausted, but it's not because I'm doing a lot of stuff, or physically doing a lot of stuff. It's because mentally I'm doing a lot of stuff, and
Yeah.
then it's just like a freaking computer that have 20 pages open.
Oh
It's just like
yeah. I got
doing
you.
a
Got you.
lot of stuff at the same time.
I'll
'Cause I
share
get
with you
phone
some
calls and
stuff
I
that
get
I
the
do.
emails and then I get
I,
this and then I'm
yeah,
trying to get this done and then I get another call and then Jesus Christ. Yeah,
I
I
do
get
a few
exhausted.
things differently for work and for personal stuff, but I
Yeah.
can share with you what it is because I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That would be super helpful. And yeah, that would be super helpful. Oh man,
Awesome,
thank you
man.
so much.
Thank you
Let's
again.
stay in touch and then I hope to see you soon. Are you going to Bass event?
No, I'm trying to come to your guys' event. I was
Oh,
looking at
cool.
tickets. I want to
Yes.
come to your guys' a lot. I was just looking at the tickets, and I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if I was looking at a bad day, but they came out to like $400, and I was like,
Oh.
oh. So I'm trying
Yeah.
to find the days that work, and I'm trying
Yeah.
to find maybe if I look on a different website, it'll be a little bit better.
Cool. I'll send you a link. You probably already know the website, but I send you a link where I'm like, getting the tickets from the guests. The cheapest I've found so far.
Okay, yeah, please send it to me, and I'll check it out because like yeah, man, I don't know if my students are gonna come out. They've been
That's okay.
they're not easy to drag out of the academy.
That's totally understandable.
Yeah, but that's something that I really want to do, man. So I
Nice,
like I
man. I
said, I'm
would love
looking
to
for
have
the
you here, man.
tickets. Please send it to me. I'm
Yeah,
very serious.
yeah.
I just need to work it out. That's all.
Perfect, man. I would love to have you here, man.
Yeah, man. Dude, I would love to come, man. Never
Yeah.
been to Indianapolis. It's gonna be fun.
Oh, nice. Well, it's always the first time.
Cool.
Awesome, man. I'll
Awesome.
talk to you
Thanks,
later,
guys.
man.
Shishi.
Bye.
All right.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being part of this episode one more time. And thank you so much for being part of the Capoeira community. I'm very happy you made it all the way to the end. Now, make sure you listen to the next episode next week or the following week or the previous episodes. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram. And don't forget to reach out so we can have you on the podcast. Okay. Thank you so much for being part of this amazing journey in the Capoeira community. And I really hope to see you one time here in Indianapolis, or I'll see you in the hot next time. Okay. Keep training, keep your Capoeira school, keep supporting your Capoeira school, and keep training, keep loving Capoeira, keep training, keep playing the Hoda. I'll see you in the Hoda next time. Peace.